Welcome to Washoe Life, our podcast produced by the Washoe County Communications Division about life here in Washoe County. We're on location today. My name is Nancy Lewinhagen.
And I'm Bethany Drysdale. And yes, we have taken the podcast on the road. And this is the second part of kind of a two-part conversation here at Crossroads. So if you haven't listened to the other one, go back, go listen to the other one or wait till after this one, whatever. But listen to them both because this is really a package deal. This is a big topic. So 2 episodes.
Honestly, we could have gone so many, but we're starting with 2. And we're so glad to be here on site. I'm here with Frankie Lemus, who is the program coordinator here at Crossroads, but you're also with our Human Services Agency. And Frankie, no one describes Crossroads like you can, so I'm going to let you do it, okay?
Okay, sure. Crossroads is a Washoe County Human Services Agency funded and led initiative. We target specifically working with Washoe County residents who have a range of moderate to complex needs, personal challenges. We do that through a peer-led, structured, supportive living community model that's alcohol and drug free. And the program consists of really 4 core elements. The number 1 element is the structured living environment, which is kind of the magic of the model, which is I'm sure what we'll be talking about and what you would have heard members of our program talk about. The second is that we provide targeted and intensive case management services, and that's done through Washoe County caseworkers. Third element is we provide a full range of life skills development and workforce readiness programming. And then the fourth is our linkage to primary and behavioral health care services, because we're not a treatment center. We're really essentially a behavior change program.
That's the key.
And you're joined by Jimmie, Drury, and you're with RISE, so the service provider for this. Tell us a little bit about that.
RISE as a whole, or just the relationship?
The relationship.
So the relationship is really powerful because I think that you often have within whatever response there is societal, it was a lot of like a siloed nature. If they got program over here, government funded initiative over here, and you were almost encouraged to be separate. So I think the magic in it, we call it a parallel process, and throughout this conversation, you'll definitely hear all the different elements of how that's parallel. But I think it honestly, you can say that it starts with the partnership. We're like deeply embedded within one another, right? So as opposed to being isolated, Frankie is saying this and we're doing this, and communication's odd, right? He and I are often talking through a wall at one another, constantly embedded into the work with one another. And so the partnership is one of just almost like interdependency. I think that you have RISE that has a long history, started as like almost like a mutual aid, which is beautiful considering what the model is now, right? And it evolved from Rise and Dine into managing the various Crossroads programs. And you have Frankie's history of getting involved in rebuilding the model and strengthening the model. But honestly, you pull one thread, you get the rest of it. So we're just deeply connected in with one another.
And I'm glad you're talking about all of the history of it as well, because Frankie, there is I'm the dinosaur here. I've been with the county for about almost 14 years. And I know Crossroads started, like you said, in 2011. It's changed quite a bit from that.
It's changed significantly. Back in 2011, you had thought leaders in our community like Judge Dorothy Nash Holmes and Sheriff Dennis Balaam. You had Sheila Leslie. You had a number of folks that really came together to do this unbelievable collaborative initiative, which was wonderful for our community. And the program started as this 1-bedroom, 1 HSA caseworker collaboration.
Every place has to have a start, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
And
good.
so, in 2016, I was brought in by Director Howell to really look at, analyze the program, and make recommendations for enhancing quality of care. And that's been really the birth of the model that we apply today at Crossroads, which is what's termed a community as method model. And that program shift has been substantial. And we can continue to grow every single year with our implementation of that model with fidelity. That's unique. It's a unique Crossroads method that we use.
So you mentioned model and method. paint for us with words if you can. What does that look like? What does this place look like to people?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do a piece of it, and I'm going to ask Jimmie to take a chunk here. So when you look at what community as method is, it's essentially, I'll kind of describe a couple of components. One, we create the context. We create all of the variables within our program that function as a catalyst for making life changes. And then from there, we set a culture in the community. So we establish this culture, and that's everything from rules, norms, values, standards, expectations in the program. And that culture is established. It's overt and it's covert. It is a living, breathing entity within the community. Members then come into our setting, and once they enter our setting, we're consistently as a program evaluating, is that person choosing to adopt those core principles? Are they meeting the expectations of what we're looking for in the process of change with them? And then from that point, we look at where may they not be doing that? Where are they doing that? And then we draw them in. And so the idea is essentially the peers in the program themselves are the catalyst for change, which is very different than I ran treatment programs for a good 12 to 14 years in this community. It's a very different mindset. Our folks are told to swerve into each other's lanes. In treatment programs, you're told to worry about your own recovery, stay on your own path, pay attention to yourself, get through this and move on. In our program, we're saying, get in the way. Wow. Hold people accountable. Please, Jimmie.
You are the change. You've heard on the last podcast, members talk about being one sibling's keeper, right? Brother, sister, whatever, right? We say here, I am because we are. Our survival is bound up in one another. I think if you decentralize where change comes from, and so within a treatment industry, right? You're sent. I've been in recovery since I was 21 years old, about 14, 15 years now, and in my experience, young person, having a social worker in my life since I was like 6 or 7, you're sent to this person, and that person has change for you, and you either accept it or you're regarded as resistant. And here, it harnesses something I think ancient to people. We call it, we say that we're a society in a microscope, but it's the oldest thing that we know as people, and folks are often when they get here, they don't realize that they've been waiting for it forever, just as I didn't realize I'd been waiting for it forever since I was young. And it's a system of mutual support. Change is not me as a practitioner or any of the staff members that you've heard. Change is you heard Scott in the last podcast talked about, we create a structure, we call it rational authority, emphasis on the rationality, right? A structure around it, maybe a container, right? But that container is just reinforcing the system of like collective responsibility, right? So you deeply, on like a fundamental, your essence level, recognize that like for me to prosper, you must prosper. My actions from the smallest to largest impact you, and yours me, and we are going to get through this together. So it's this powerful system of solidarity that we reinforce, we tap into, but change therefore then comes from that embeddedness, which again, like that is the essence of being a person. We are embedded. We just either harness that or we don't.
I love this talk with the peer support, and when you walk around, you get a tour, of which we've done everything. You guys are, number one, you're uber organized. Yes, I see the structure. I see it, but like, let's talk about the cooking, the gym, now you guys, you just don't walk in. Everyone has a role and a responsibility.
Yeah, the way our program's designed, every member in our community has a job, a role, a responsibility. That same concept applies for all of our staff. And our program is really founded on helping individuals find that sense of meaning and purpose. And that's oftentimes where it comes from, is that you empower individuals to take on accountability and responsibility. So when somebody comes into our program, at the very beginning, we're helping them just recognize taking their own responsibility. right? You get up on time, you take your medications on time, you show up for your preliminary breath testing, your urine screening, you show up to your groups.
All done here.
All done here on site. Just cleaning up your own personal bed space, your hygiene. That then starts to evolve into, how do you hold your peers support? How do you support them? How do you help them hold themselves accountable? How do you help them learn about responsibility? From there, then it expands further. How do you support and invest in your community, our community here, which what we call Crossroads, we always call it a community. It's our community. And so as you learn how to then invest into the whole community, then we step to the next degree. How do you contribute to the larger community? How do you find yourself being a member of participating in the larger community? How do you shift what you initially perceived yourself to be to now seeing yourself as a contributing member with a greater purpose in society?
And when people come here and they start, what's the term of somebody who just gets here? There's like different levels, right?
Mm-hmm. You're in induction phase. You're inducting, and this is like in every single element of this place, the way that it's set up. If you're familiar with institutions, like you'll see something that you think is what it once was, what it is in this other space, and then all of a sudden you start to recognize the magic of it. Like a lot of programs, for instance, talk about in the front end a blackout period. Blackout period, when you think about what that is, it's like a sit back, just wait it out, right? Like induction is an active, it's not a passive part of your program. You are inducting yourself into a community, into a way of being, right? So you do that through practicing radical individual responsibility. You have to take ownership. We all got a lot of reasons to point out why we're at where we're at. And we could do that all day long. Anybody could do that. I don't care what you've been through. You can point at everything in the world that's happened to you, right? And that will do nothing to change it. We can know about systems and structures and institutions that have held us back and that won't change them. And so inducting yourself into the community is recognizing that here, there's something bigger than you. And if you take radical individual responsibility for your space and how you're impacting not just yourself, but those around you, you induct yourself into the community. So that's the first phase. Primary then becomes, as Frankie was talking about, you begin to entertain what is taking ownership of not just your space, but the space that around you, how I'm impacting someone else. Like really, we have committees, jobs, roles, right? So you'll take like a role of higher responsibility within a committee. If you're in the kitchen committee, you go from washing the dishes to being like a sous chef or a prep cook, right? If you're in maintenance, you go from I changed light bulbs to I'm ensuring that I got inventory handled of what we need to fix this, replace this. I know where the trash bags are, right? When you get to senior then, that level of like, I am responsible for this place. You can see on the walls around here, we call it proprietorship. Like this is mine. If it works, it's because of me. If it doesn't, it's because of us, right? And so that is why what makes this special. Just like induction is different than a blackout. What makes the program special is you get a sense of like a lot of folks, you heard Kenny's story earlier, hear everyone's story earlier where they're like you're made to feel like a burden. Like I'm a burden on society. And folks that are made to feel that way then become the most engaged in changing their county. We have people that are regularly at BCC meetings. We have people that go to the Capitol building. We have people that are regularly out doing community cleanups. We have people that are regularly out giving food to folks that don't have it, right? Doing more, what was once described as a burden is now doing more than everyone around. And if you want to know what makes our community special, it stops being just our community, it becomes the larger Washoe County community. You leave here and you take ownership of everything around you, just like you once did the kitchen here.
Yeah. So when we toured a while ago, we were shown senior. Is that the highest level? Transition. Thank you. A transition room. Little fireplace and TV, and this gentleman has worked his way to the point of being able to have that. I imagine that is inspiration for those who are working toward that. But I also thought it was interesting that it's not his TV. It's still his responsibility to invite people in to watch the TV with him. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's still, you're never really even at that level on your own.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from our perspective, it's a matter of when you come into this program, our program is all about increased privileges with increased responsibilities. So you earn the amenities that you have, whether that's your own TV, your own bedroom, you have less people in a room. All of those ingredients are earned, but they come with an increased responsibility to the community itself. So the farther you move in the program, the more influence you have in the community. So we're always helping our guys and our gals and our women with children, soon to be families, reach out and offer a hand up to anyone in our program. Everyone in our program, the target goal that we have is for them to look at who's replacing their bed. So we talk about the gentleman that's up in the transition room that you toured, and we have a number of them, but the one that you saw, he is out finding who's going to replace him. And so that's
because he's going to move out.
Because he's moving on.
Yeah.
And so who's going to take his place?
Right.
Who is going to be the elder in this community? Who's going to come down when we're a little bit off base as a peer community? Who's going to come down and sit down with those folks and help them recognize their impact on others? So what we see every person in our program represents a mirror to the person that they're communicating with. So you're a mirror to the other individual. So how you respond, how you react, that should be providing that person information, data that helps them evaluate how they are, what they need to do, what they might want to consider changing in themselves. So that flows all the way through.
I always hear you guys talk about the spirit of the model. So was that a little bit of this? Is that mirror?
The cool thing about saying the spirit of the model is that it's amorphous, right? And it has to be. If it's like watching generations shift, which would typically in society take 30 years, but it happens here in 6 months, right? Because every new group of leaders that come in and practice proprietorship, the space shifts around them, right? Which committee has more emphasis? What kind of activities we do? Where we're weak, where we're strong, how we account for it, right? It's an ever flowing. So the spirit of it, the best way to speak to the spirit of it, we have a series of maxims when you're on the tour. You saw the maxims on the wall that starts to approach it, right? So collective responsibility. I am my brother, sister's keeper. Practicing responsible concern. Radical candor, like truth over harmony, right? That all starts to touch the spirit of it. I think that the spirit of it, if I were talking to someone new, I like to say, imagine a big cookout, in the structure of a cookout. The idea of a cookout is that you want to invite people, right? But there's no free lunch at a cookout. I don't care if you set up the tables. I don't care if you did the cooking. I don't care if you're staying clean. No free lunch. But it's this thing that has the whole block coming in. But there's also a system within that, right? You have elders, that there should be deference shown, right? Because they've been in this neighborhood for a while. They know, right? How dare I, right? Those elders should listen to the youth, certainly, right? But there's a structure there, almost like a hierarchy there, right? It's the responsibility of elders to pull people into the cookout, to take the response to whether it's running the grill, planning, setting up a playlist, whatever it may be, right? That's their responsibility. Call it lifting as you climb. That also touches the spirit of it, right? You have younger folks that need to be watched, pulled in, like the kids playing around. That would be, we have in our induction room, not that anyone here should be viewed as a child, but like someone in an induction, we have the most responsibility toward them that has got here, right? In the same way that you would be, all right, so who's over there watching, making sure that the new folks got their plates or set up? So you want to talk about the spirit of it. I could throw all these words out: collective responsibility, radical candor, right? We could talk about the principle of acting as if. But honestly, you get close to it the more that you break down these like fundamental, real features of humanity and really start to interrogate what makes those structures work. In the same way, what makes a cookout work.
I just want to add to that. I love your analogy. The other thing that I think emulates the spirit of Crossroads is that we really see the processes that we apply here as parallel processes. So our staff have the same accountability to one another and to the community as our peers have accountability to themselves and their community. So we are on a continuous quality improvement process, right? At all times. The staff want to, I think, probably lock me out if they could. Every single week we're targeting, what do we enhance? What do we improve? We do these post analyses of what could have we done better? What could have we done more effective? And even with the most successful folks here, we're always looking at how can we enhance what we do? I think that spirit, that idea of responding with a sense of urgency and this willingness to take a deep look in a very honest way about where we can improve on a constant basis is what drives our program to continue to enhance itself over time.
Accountability starts with us.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a thing that we're constantly practicing, pursuing, and if it's expected on a collective community-based level, then that's what we have to do. Yeah. Right.
And you are enhancing, adding a family's Crossroads. And this, when we had a Board of County Commissioners meeting and you had several people there to speak at public comment, talking about what a game changer this is for them and their families to have something like that. And just closed on a building, I understand.
Rise did.
So maybe this is a question for you, Jimmie. Tell us about this. What is this going to be? How is this going to be added to the Crossroads family? And what can we look forward to?
This is not an answer that could be given without direct collaboration with Frankie, nor without reference to people that you've spoken to before and someone who wasn't here. There's a graduate named Willis, and his story is his to tell. He's in the documentary. Some folks know him.
He's in our Leadership Academy this year. Willis is.
Families is a response to a need that is clear within our community and how it's worked. And so to answer the question the same way, we could talk all day about what we built and what we talked about. It's not that we is a big capital W we. It is as informed by Stephanie and Bethany as it is Willis and Malcolm and everyone that came before us.
Yeah. To kind of hit the basics of it. So Rise has closed on a building pretty close to here, within about a mile. We will be able to serve through the WARF funding process up to 10 families. So this is a really exciting growth opportunity for us. So, we started at men's and women, then we added women and children. And we've always had that missing element of what do we do with dads with their kids? What do we do with couples with their kids? And so this opportunity that we have to now do a family-based model that applies a community as method approach, which in our research of the literature, we can't find any place. So really, I think it's probably one of the most innovative things that we can do in our community is to create this same community as method style that we apply at Crossroads, but then apply it with families. So if you can imagine families breaking bread together and giving one another coaching and feedback, and providing this sense of responsible concern for the health of their whole system, not just an individual, but their family system itself. What if that's we're excited?
But the same model, you're not a treatment,
No,
but the whole family's living there.
Correct.
Wow.
So what if the statement "it takes a village" was a program?
I've been thinking it takes a village through this whole conversation. That's exactly what this is.
And it's ancient. We talk about a model, but we know this. It's intuitive. People know.
Yeah, this is founded in indigenous practices, right? I mean, that's kind of where all this stuff really came from and is rooted. I think it's just the reemergence of that in what we do. So
I have to ask, we talk about models, we talk about things that are going on. We have to be a national model on, and I know you guys are busy doing your own thing, but I know you also know what's going on in the rest of the country with these types of programs.
yeah, I personally, I mean, I've been in this field for 30 years. I ran treatment centers in this community, and then I was a senior vice president of a nationally or internationally recognized behavior change training consulting company. And these type of models, in my experience being out there, they work the most effective. When you start to empower the individuals themselves to be the catalyst for change. When you start to recognize the value of people with lived experience being the contributing factor, the primary ingredient that function as that catalyst for change, those are the models that work. And for us, I mean, we take great pride in what we do at Crossroads, but there's programs all over the country that apply this type of model. We just see ourselves as a little special.
Yes, I understand that.
Listening to you, I'm so inspired, but I'm also so frustrated thinking this is how the world should be. This is how we should all be living. And it's frustrating to me thinking, why are we not doing more of this? How do you encourage yourselves? I mean, you live this. Is that frustrating to you, or how do you find encouragement to not be frustrated like that?
I really work really hard to live by this philosophy that finding the problems is the easy part. It's coming up with the solutions that I choose to put all of my energy into. If we could, as Crossroads, if we could replicate this model in multiple different settings and locations, if we could have 5 Crossroads men's programs and 5 women's and 5 families and 5 women and children's, I would take it in a second, and I would revel in the workload that we have. But I think critics are a dime a dozen. I think the people that find solutions are the rare piece that's out there. And that's what I believe that our team, we have the most amazing staff, and we have the most amazing members in our programs. But without the mindset of growth and change and solution finding, we wouldn't be able to sit right here, nor would we be able to handle the everyday pressures of life today. So,
Yeah. The model is the solution. So like I don't honestly in my day-to-day life don't like talking about the model, because it feels like we're talking about something that's fundamental to the human experience with fancy language that's unnecessary. When you're asking how to stay motivated, how to stay committed to the cause, how to keep finding solutions, the way we do things is the solution. Being focused on community as the answer, not trying to be the individual in front of the camera, but being about building up a system of collective responsibility, leaning on one another. When something goes sideways with one of our staff, we're doing the model, because it's the model. It's the way people organize. It's all we're doing. And so like the answer is, the proof is in the pudding. The answer is in what we do.
All right. Before we let you guys go, we asked this of our participants from our previous Crossroads. Where's Jimmie in 5 years?
Terry,
What's Jimmie doing?
Building. We want 5 different Crossroads for every demographic, right? Build. Every new problem is an opportunity to build. So builder. I want there's folks you interviewed. I want to have my spot one day. Lift as we climb. That's the model, right? And I want to expand from there.
Frankie?
5 years. I hope I'm sitting right here in the seat doing the same type of interview about all of the different Crossroads programs that are in our community. I see myself continuing to be a part of this. My choice to invest in developing the model that we apply today is because of a passion and a belief in what we do. And so I'd like to carry that as a piece of my legacy.
And what can our viewers and listeners do to make that happen? What do you need from the community?
Right. Just if you had a little wand before we let you go.
Yeah, I would say the most important thing that I would ask for in the community is your openness to support what we do. We truly do help to make changes in people's lives. And for every person that's watching this podcast, learn a little bit more about what we do, because we make a big difference in our community.
Yes.
For each individual, I think, believe in community. There's people listening, watching this right now that don't know your neighbor, that walk past somebody struggling. What we do here ain't special. It's beautiful. The fact that it is special is tragic, but we are the answer to it. So get to know your neighbor, do something. You look out your window, you see a problem, do something about it.
Fantastic advice. Frankie Lemus, Jimmie Drury, thank you both so much for allowing us in and to get a small slice of what it's like to be at Crossroads.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. And to those listening and watching, you can check out on the website. You can find things, find out about this program, and we hope to be right back here in a few years with the next iteration of Crossroads.
We will.
We'll be waiting.
Until then, thank you so much. Enjoy your Washoe life.